I think we should just rename the podcast Wyrd. Just like, welcome to Wyrd, let's go!
No, I like the toast of Wyrd again, like...
The toast of the Wyrd. Let's toast to the
unique.
Wyrd.
It gives us that. And again, we do have our toast of the week sometimes, or toast of the month. And
Suck a
I
fart.
like it. It's unique. It's our shit, man. It's, you know...
I like the raising the glass and like acknowledging and throwing out some positive energy out there.
Perfect. See,
you know that like let's toast to this person who did this amazing thing this past week. But I don't have any of that this week for the podcast, so I'm just ill prepared, which is why I'm like, let's just call it Wyrd.
Well, we're in that stage where we'll get there. We'll get their audience when we get our audience. That we'll have subject lists and hey, by the way, and we left off here because a lot of it we'll get right back to that, and then we come back, we're like, what were we talking about? I don't remember. Anyway,
what were we talking about? Cannabis. What?
So we have the entertaining factor, but we got to get the just a little more
the content factor. All right, so here's the suck a fart thing.
I've never not been entertained re-listening to our podcast. I'm just saying. Never not been entertained.
It's because we're homies and it's your podcast.
Bullshit. I've heard myself talk and record crap before. No one ever likes their own voice, okay? I'm not like...
That's true. So are you staying up with the trends? Are you keeping up with some TikTok-y trends, YouTube-y trends?
There's too many, so which ones are you talking about?
I'm talking about the bear or the man question.
Okay, I just saw, God, I remember her name. She's a good caster, but good content creator, and she creates content basically not defending men, but all right, women, this is what men really think, or she's, I remember her name. I'll pull it up right now. But yeah, she just pulled out the whole bear or man question.
Yeah.
And I really like how she broke it down, actually, because she actually talked about how, no offense to men, but I'd rather encounter a bear than a random dude in the woods. I'm sorry, but I also would rather encounter a bear than a random guy in the woods.
I could see that side of the argument because you encounter a bear, you know what's going to happen. It's going to kill you. That's it.
That's not true. I mean, you could, again, I guess here's what it is does the man want to, or is the bear going to try to rape you? Here we go. Emily
bear going to try and rape you?
Yeah. That's who, yeah, this lady, she does some really good stuff.
Emily King. Yeah. Emily W. King?
Yeah.
Right on?
Yep.
Right on. Is that TikTok? Or is that YouTube?
It's YouTube.
Oh, okay.
She's had some really cool insights and some shit.
All right. But yeah.
And I'm like, thank you. A lady said it. And then also what she does, some shit, she's like, women will never tell you this, I'll take it to their grave, but I will. And I was like, oh. Yeah, it's got some girl secrets in there and the good stuff.
So what did she say about the bear or the man question?
Oh, she's talking about it and, defending, the men and everything. But then at the end, she's just kind of like, but yeah, the bear. The bear, basically. And again, I think it really has to do with not just, I think it has to do, that to me is like a societal breakdown kind of question. Because in the 1950s, I would much rather encounter a random person than a bear. But nowadays, that spectrum of fucking weirdo, you know what I mean? People used to closet their weirdo. People used to closet their freak. People used to closet, being different. And I'm serious. This is, and it's cool.
I'm laughing because it's true.
It's true, yeah. Because when we were back in the day, ripped up jeans or, you were a freak or whatever, that was the outcast. Now people hey, would you like to buy these pants that have already been pre-stitched, pre-worn with safety pins in them?
Back in our day, we were just we're just going to own our poor, you know? We're going to own our broke and just my jeans ripped. What of it?
Now you now you get to buy your poor. Thank you. That is true.
Buy you have to buy your poor. It's dumb. My very teenage daughter will buy pre-cut jeans and I'll be like, why can't you just buy whole jeans and rip them yourself? Earn that scar. Have a story, Yeah. I was doing a 180 kickflip and then I slipped and fell in a rock. Now I'm all bloody and my pants are all blah. Then you give it to mom. Mom just takes out the blood and there you go. You got ripped up jeans.
We should just start doing that. We're going to get pre-jeans, cut them up, wear them for 2 weeks, call them life jeans, resell them. They got life already in these jeans.
They got life in these jeans. Don't worry, we used peroxide to get the blood out of them.
No, fuck that. That's authentic. There's just no,
There's
disease.
Too much biohazard involved.
No, there's no, we already watched everything. We already watched it. You're right.
Disease
fake blood.
Pathogens.
Fake blood.
There you go.
Food coloring.
fake.
No
blood,
biomaterial
totally.
was transferred on these jeans. Life jeans. Idea is copyrighted right now, right today. I'm fucking serious, man. We'll like get some homeless people just out there wearing jeans. Like, why do these 70 homeless people have these brand new Levi's on? I'm like, those are my product placement people.
Can I buy your jeans? Here, wear these, $50. Dude, I'm telling you, like, we should start a homeless marketing network. Just instead of like your hungry sign, just hold the Toasted Wyrd sign and we'll pay you $5 a day just to hold the sign.
A day? Shit, they make more than that.
Yeah, they make more than that holding the sign on the corner. I'm
Right,
not going to pay them more than that.
We'll just both will like have their sign, have the other one. Wait, that reminds me. Actually, Robin Williams, like part of his contract, he used to like have the studios. You saw that? Hire like 10 homeless people,
yes,
10 extras and shit. Yeah.
Yep. He had to. They had to hire like a certain amount of homeless people, 25 homeless people or 5 homeless people, depending on the contract, whatever it was.
Yeah, he'd help like thousands of homeless people in his time. Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude, homeless marketing campaign, just like hold this sign, pay $5. You get to keep whatever money you collect.
I'm not dissing boxers in this analogy, but someone posted a really good, okay, and again, I'm not fans or not fans of either of these two gentlemen, but one of them was Floyd Mayweather and someone else, and they talk about like how I think it was Floyd Mayweather, like bought like this 200 and whatever thousand or watt or some shit, right? And then the other guy like fed 2,000 people or some shit.
Yeah, he went, I saw that. Who was it?
Yeah, fuck. I think, again, I don't remember.
I think it was like Canelo.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know who it was exactly, but he took all of his money and fed a village or something like that.
Looked like he was in like a one of those suits for riding bikes or something, like one of those like tight shirts on. Is what it looked like.
Mayweather or the guy?
The guy. And then Mayweather was sitting in, I believe it was him, sitting in his mansion with a nice red shirt on and like jewelry and just like, look at my fancy shit.
Yep.
And the other guy was like, look at all these people I just fed.
Yeah, it's just like that. We always talk about that caliber of person and that type of person, you know?
Yep.
Like, glory to the Floyd Mayweather fancy wristwatch. But you remember when we first got in business years ago, and you were like, I'm going to be the fancy guy with a good suit in the boardroom, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to look like I'm homeless and I'm going to surf.
Yep.
Like, I do not give a shit about the brands that I'm wearing.
Yeah, it's true.
Do not care about the clothes that I'm wearing.
Yeah, brand loyalty has definitely been
but
interesting.
it's just
now we're making our own brand. So technically I do have brand loyalty, just not to their brands.
not their brands. It's our brands, man.
If you're not busy working on your dreams, someone will get you busy working on theirs.
That's true. That is very, very true. It's all so. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, which I don't think I can have a Toast of the Wyrd podcast without talking about Joe Rogan because I'm so brand loyal to it now. That and like the guests that he has on are really interesting or really funny. I don't really listen to the MMA ones because whatever. Anyway, I forgot where I was going with that.
They can come up with something interesting. I don't give a shit
the travelism.
I think one of the best ones I saw was when Cat Williams was on there and he was talking about how he was such well-read. And I was like, leave me the fuck away. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, anyway, he was talking about it's all about tribalism. And he was talking about the difference between the Android users and iPhone users. And it was like, if you're not in the iPhone class, you don't do business with certain people. And I was like, that's kind of retarded, but it's all about tribalism. It's all about, I'm better because I bought the more expensive phone that took them 15 versions to figure out how to have shatterproof glass. Meanwhile, Samsung and the Android classes are over there like, yeah, we kind of figured that out back in 2006.
We talked about that
whenever
too,
they
like
actually did that.
It's widely known that it's just a better overall product.
Which one?
Android. It's overall a better product, but it is a brand or tribal thing, and it's just the largest version of it we can talk about because it's same thing with politics. But
dude, I can go out and I can get a good quality Samsung Android phone for about $700, depending, on the models and the features. But it's the phone we use to record this podcast and soon our videos. I did research. Like, we don't need anything else fancier other than maybe your iPhone. That comes in really good, too, for what they do. for the videos.
Stage light in an iPhone is what I've seen a lot of people using.
Yeah. And so anyway, but you go out and you buy the latest version of the iPhone, that's going to cut you back, what, $7,000 these days? What is it, like $2,500 something?
There was some advertisement, some guy talking about how they're making their own phones now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because, like, everything, all of our shit is made from, like... Because everyone's talking about this, the TikTok in China and stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the fuck do you think your phone is made from?
China.
Do you think they have to
TikTok,
worry about you downloading something?
Dude,
no,
that
they
is
shut
such
that
a
motherfucking
sham.
thing in there already.
That is such a bullshit sham, dude. Like, I was listening to so much social media, consuming all the social media. But this one guy was talking about the whole reason why the Congress is trying to ban TikTok is because China's eating their lunch. Of course they're spying on you. That's what Facebook is. Of course they're spying on you. That was what Twitter was before Musk bought it.
Yeah.
Of course you could give this information over freely. So that way you could get a potion in Pokemon Go or whatever the crap, Like, of course they're going to try and steal that technology, because that's legitimately, in my opinion, what they're doing, to repurpose it for their own nefarious uses. Like,
I'm gonna give a fuck less if we're getting spied on. They're just like, wait, what? We're not profiting?
We're not the ones spying? You mean China could be spying on a senator's child? We got to get rid of TikTok. Because
someone's like, they literally just implemented all this stuff in the phone you bought for your fucking child. I talked about how apps are preloaded, how their software is in there. He's like, you're worried about an app? He's like, your phone is already fucking corrupt as shit. Like, don't worry about an app.
Yes. I was going to go off on another tangent and rant, but
hit that shit.
No, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's like, why? Oh my God, TikTok, we got to be afraid of this boogeyman, but don't mind the Patriot Act that, basically allows for the NSA, DEA, CIA, ABC, XCA, whatever other anonyms are out there, the NSA agencies that we don't know about, to basically just get your data anyway, right? So let's say you have your phone and it's pinging from a cell tower, and a person of interest comes in and they talk to you. Now, because you've been in proximity due to the cell phone records, they could get all your data off those cell phone records, off that cell tower. Like, it doesn't matter. The whole reason why they're mad at TikTok is because it's them getting it, not us getting it. Even though they have a way more efficient machine or app or program to get your data.
In the long term, I still think it's misinformation, misdirection. We're just Oceana and whoever. Next week, they're our friends.
Exactly what it is. As long as the proletariat keeps fighting amongst itself, or the plebs, whatever analogy you want to use, keeps fighting amongst itself, and people in power can stay in power, they're not going to give a shit at all.
Like I love all the people. For example, it was Iran before. It was a few years ago, before all this stuff happened, and I was really looking into the shadow government and like the Bilderberg and world, all that shit, right?
Right.
They had talked about, they showed all these world leaders that are fighting now. It was a few years ago, sitting around, shaking hands, having lunch, or we're talking about some shit, and they're like, and the guy's like, watch this. He's like, give it a few years. He's like, we're gonna be in conflict with these people, and then sure the fuck enough.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. Russia and China have always been the enemy of democracy. Always. And forever will be.
And yet, like, every senator, businessman, all these people are praising China everywhere, all the time, openly.
Right, because their corporations need to get into the Chinese market to sell them their product.
God.
What?
Dude, the Indian merging market in India is fucking crazy.
India is just a madhouse. Like,
Bollywood's doing great.
Yeah, we've been in crypto for a while, right? So my experience in crypto proves that everyone from India is a scammer. Like, I don't trust you at all. Like, you will literally have to move a mountain for me to be able to trust you, period. And I'm one of those people who enjoys trusting first and then reacting But yeah, I'm not racist or anything, but that's my own personal firm belief. I'm gonna get canceled for it, but you can't get started you can't get canceled if you're not started. So
So what I think my colleague is referring to is the overwhelming amount of call center folks from a specific country that may be giving you the uneasy feeling.
not only that, but the sites that are like, please to be depositing your crypto here to double and triple it in 3 hours. Okay, sure.
Hey, to be fair enough, what was that faucet site?
Hey, that's what I dude, that led me down this path. Oh, Russians are also scammers too, by the way.
Russians.
All the Russians are scammers as well. Pretty convinced about that too. There you go. I got a brown country and a white
Russian
country.
hacker for their Halloween.
Huh?
I'm gonna get a t-shirt that says I'm a Russian hacker and be like, what? And I'm like, that's my Halloween costume. I'm just gonna wear a shirt that says Russian hacker on it.
I'm the worst thing on the internet, a Russian hacker.
Like that's what I'm gonna do for this Halloween coming up for t-shirts, because before I was there's all the versions of like, this is my costume, or I got some sarcastic stuff for other people who'd like to dress up. Yeah. That's gonna be it. This year I dressed up as a Russian hacker, and that's all that's gonna say on the shirt.
Right on.
Just gonna wear one of those classic black shirts with just a boring white print like in high school.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Be like my bestseller.
So speaking of hacking and phones and all that stuff, have you seen the new latest phone company that came out? We might have to bleep.
I'm just thinking.
We got about 3 minutes.
Okay, cool. Russian hackers, what now?
Perfect. So there's a company coming out with an uncrackable Android phone that won't be able to be tracked, or your data is your data instead of just being sold for I agree to the terms and conditions.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was called, and I thought it'd be worth looking into, but yeah, we don't have enough time. I'm not gonna look it up. It'd be like untraceable phone, and it'll be like, would you like an iPhone 75? I don't want to deal with that on Google right now. But it was on a Joe Rogan podcast that I heard about it.
Oh yeah, I wonder how long it would take to look at untraceable phone.
So it was brought up because of this whole TikTok ban. They were talking about it, and this company is like, yeah, we're going to do it so that way your data is your own, and you go through all these hoops and whistles to keep it off of the Google network. What's that? Track phone? No. See, that's what I didn't want to go through. Bruce Banner, who's that guy? Burner phone. Yeah, see, that's the meat and potatoes that I didn't want to go through right there. Thanks for looking it up, but it's like a burner phone, man. Yeah. Anyway, the guy at this company is purposefully not selling his phone to anybody in the government because he doesn't want that kind of backlash of like, oh, it's just the CIA doing its black ops or whatever.
Burner phones.
Yeah, like burner phones? Sorry, local drug dealer, do you need a burner phone? Track phone it is.
I love how there's specific brands that cater to a certain clientele.
Well, I mean, pickaxes did make more money in the gold rush than miners did.
Imagine a person making those pickaxes and selling them wholesale.
Yeah. There's always a market. There's always a bigger fish. I think perspective really matters in business too. Absolutely.
Perspective and perception.
Yep. What is your brand perceived as? So the other day, my loving spouse, my partner, my beloved, tells me the story, and I'm buying it, hook, line, and sinker. She's going on with it. And she, do we need to blip? We'll blip right now. I'll come back with a story.
Okay, wife story.
All right, and we're back. So, my loving spouse tells me the story. I'm into it, hook, line, and sinker. Man, she's convinced me. It's captivating. It's there. She says, in the 1800s, men decided to only plant male trees because they didn't want the fruit falling and rotting and making the grounds look absolutely disgusting. They'd rather have the pollen that could be more easily cleaned up. Yes, I see that look on your face. Why is that look on your face?
What?
Why is that look on your face? What are you thinking?
They're male and female fruit trees?
Yeah, it's pretty convincing, isn't it?
No.
That was my take on it too. I was like, honey, no, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
And she kept going on. Yeah, they did this, blah, 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 blah. And my first response was, that doesn't sound logical, because I don't think a bunch of dudes would want a whole bunch of like male tree jizz up in their face. Like, that's not a thing. She dies. And I'm like, she's like, yeah, it's really a thing. And I'm kind of like, but that's not true, because trees don't have gender at all. They're co-sexual. I looked it up because I had to Google it and be like, honey, no, look.
Yeah.
And she's dying laughing while I'm like, look. She was taking me for a ride.
Okay.
She was taking me for a ride. She was pulling my leg, whatever you want to call it. And she dies laughing right there. And I look it up and I'm like, trees are co-sexual. She's like, I know, but you were going. And I was like, no, I thought you were that dumb. I'm sorry. But she's all, no, I was just ribbing you. I got you. And I'm like, that was a good one. And then she's like, and then guys would want ejaculate in their face. That was great. So, yeah.
Now, I'm glad you found humor, but like if that happened to me, I would just still be sitting here speechless being like, no, I don't even have to Google that. I know trees don't have, what? I eat, that doesn't, I was waiting for this like thing that I didn't know to come out. Like, actually in all your experience in, in agriculture, we were in school, all of your time looking up, the genetics of peaches.
So the reason, there's a couple of reasons why I was going
Never came across
ride.
male and female fruit trees. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was going across this because one, it was the 1800s and people were a little bit more back then, especially in Europe, because the whole Dark Ages thing, right?
Supposedly.
So it was plausible. It was a little plausible that way. And then there's also the Native American Three Sisters who actually do
the squash, the bean, and corn, I think?
Yes. Okay. They plant them together because they help each other grow. And that makes sense. And then there's also a certain way that you can plant trees, shrubs, and ground cover to make that grow more efficiently and effectively as well. And a lot of lords would plant their lands that way. Trees on the outside to block the wind, shrubs, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. So I was kind of along for the ride, except for the gender thing. Like, that's believable that they'd want to plant fruit trees in a certain way rather than not.
What got me, I was just like, I want a tree that produces nothing over a tree that produces something. I was like, no, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
And then the whole female thing, I was just sitting here thinking, I'm like, have I lasted this long? Because I know that there's like, flowering, because I know that, there's different species of plants that do have a male and female version, cannabis, for example.
It's a very minute.
Yeah, there is. So, and that's why I was still there. I'm just like,
of plants.
When I was waiting, and I'm like, maybe there's a specific type of fruit that I'm finding out, like pomegranates, for example. I'm not an expert on pomegranate trees, by any means. So I don't know. I was like, maybe? But I was just like, because I know that there is, but then I'm just thinking, I'm like, I'm like, what fruit are they talking about? Because I don't know a male and fruit tree plants. Because I've never seen a male plant, and then also on top of it, they're like, here's some male pollen to get that female plant going.
Right, like you have to import some male pollen, and then I really don't see guys wanting plant bukkake in front of their face versus something that they can cherish and consume and eat.
Speaking of that, though, I saw some crazy shit. It might have been on the Joe podcast. But in China and other places, they're self-pollinating trees.
Self-pollinating trees?
Yeah, because bees are pretty much dead. They were talking about how, like, there's one bee farm, like, a bunch of their bees died, they're talking about like 80 some, percent or whatever. And they're like, no one notices. He's like, but I want you to think about if 84% of all of our beef just died in one day.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how, and this gets a little tinfoil hat, but they're talking about how the government...
Let's go, tinfoil hats!
...genetically modified some sort of bees or whatever to go out and carry, like, diseases or some shit. So they go out and pollinate the flower. They leave that shit there, and then a normal honeybee comes by, grabs that infected fucking pollen or whatever, brings it back to the hive, and they all die.
Well, they do that with mosquitoes. That's been documented with mosquitoes. So, I mean, there's a basis for the reality.
Because if the honeybee goes, we're fucked. Like, the whole world is
The bees die, we die. Everybody dies. Everything dies. It could be a mass extinction event. It's super serious. That's why I want to have an apiary.
Yeah.
I really do. Just like, go get some land, make it an apiary, and go.
Get a couple of them, a bunch.
Yeah. And, sell the honey to help produce the land. Anyway, I have a whole, like, dim-witted, half-baked idea of having a hemp farm, not a cannabis farm, but a hemp farm to produce paper, clothing, all that stuff that's pollinated with bees.
Honey.
So then you got CBD honey. Wah! So that way it could all work together.
Wait, CBD honey? Ooh.
Yeah. You know what I don't have? Capital and land.
That sounds like a good investment idea.
Yeah. I'm
CBD honey. Ooh, with the life pants. So you can get a free jar of honey if you buy, free life pants when you get a jar of honey.
Thanks for taking my reality and just smashing it with, like, bus stop dance party life pants.
Hey, there'll be jeans or, whatever style the person may want. Whatever sells.
Right? Whatever sells.
We can have a line. We can have a specific line of the pants, Wayne. It'll be called bukkake or clown bukkake. All the younger kids will eat it right up. They be eating ass and shit. Come on.
Gross.
I'm serious. I want to get another t-shirt. You be eating some ass. How about that bukkake? Like,
I think I just threw up. All right. Is it time to blip? No, we're like 3 minutes into this episode or this segment of the episode.
Oh, fuck.
So that's what I'm bringing to the Wyrd podcast this week. Wow.
CBD honey.
CBD honey. And Joe Rogan. Oh, also, I don't really think that Cat Williams reads 40 books in a day at one time. That's just ridiculous.
Oh, I don't think he said something about 40 books in a day. What? I don't remember that. He just talked about how he had read like 4,000 books at the time he was a certain age because like he didn't have Christmases and birthdays and all that stuff. Like all he did was just read all the time and shit. And
I could see reading a lot of books.
Mm-hmm. Just like before he was a certain age or whatever, it's all he did. And I'm
like,
wow.
I could see that, but not like a ridiculous amount, like 40 books a day. But
did I say that?
No,
Okay.
I think it's from that podcast episode. But the way it was explained is that he's reading 4 books at one time or 5 books at one time, and he's reading a main book with other reference books.
Mm-hmm.
So that way he gets to read that and then moves on and reads that and all that stuff. And the dude is hyper intelligent.
Oh yeah, he hit it with his comedy. Like you can see it if you go back and listen to his comedy, you can kind of like pick it out now and why he's so good. But oh yeah, that stuff was very well hidden, like in his stage persona. I want to say, or
his stage persona is so, as the kids say, ratchet. No, it's so ghetto, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's just the humor. That's what he had and he's working with. I'm not downplaying or anything. It's great humor and stuff. But again, like the stage, anyone, you can have anyone will have the stage. Like, we'll take Joe for example. I remember the last time one of his last stand-up comedy shows that he was doing. You know, he was like up on the stool and like gargoyle or some, you know what I mean? Like he was like into it. So again, it's just performance. and then you're talking about the difference between just sitting there chilling and whatever. So
yeah, outside, it's like, watch out who your heroes are because you never know what they're doing behind closed doors.
Who said that? That's a great one.
I just did right now.
Wow.
Like, I know there's the old adage, like, you never want to meet your hero because you'll be disappointed one way or the other, right? Your mind will be blown.
We're all human, yeah.
Yeah, but you never know what they're doing behind closed doors either.
Wow.
It's a thing, I know, right? It's like so profound, man.
No, it is a great one because we talked about that too, and I think it was, well, whoever person talking about how the villain and the hero has the same origin story.
Yeah, we were talking about that last week.
Mm-hmm. Well, they put another spin on it. They're like, the villain, you know, comes after it being like, the world hurt me, I'm gonna hurt the world.
Yeah.
And the hero comes at it being like, the world hurt me, I'm gonna make sure it doesn't hurt anyone else. And that was fucking profound too. So
Quite profound. I like that.
difference between the villain and the hero. Like, I want to look at people's dogs more than people. Like, I wonder if people get offended. I'm like, hi, oh, can I meet your dog?
Maybe. Maybe.
That's what happened to me. Like today, I was walking my boys and this old man was just like, yeah, good morning. He said good morning to me and then he started talking to my dogs. I'm like, it's cool. You can talk to the dogs. I'm not offended.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm like, I get it. You're in a tank top, lady, but I wanted to say hi to your dog. I don't care.
All I heard was panting behind me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we're in a public space. Is this dog going to run up on me? No? It's on a
Right.
leash? Great. Oh,
Right.
it's attached to a female. Okay.
You said it. I think you said it first. Yeah, no, you said it first, and it was beautiful the way you said it because someone came up and you're like, your dog comes near me, I'm going to pet it.
You said it.
No,
said
it was
that.
something you first. We were here and you said something to some lady sometime.
Huh.
I think I stole it from you.
Huh.
I adapted it, maybe.
Yeah?
I Shakespeare'd it, yeah. I changed it a little bit, but yeah.
It's Shakespeare. I changed it a little bit, created it, made it my own, and now you are even convinced it's mine and not yours.
That is a beautiful way of putting it, because I remember the line, and it was Miss Spittler's class from Shakespeare. Good artist copy, great artist steal.
Yeah, I battle that, but sure.
Well, I'll think about it this way. How many businesses have been created on someone's good idea with poor execution?
Fair. And then somebody steals that business idea and makes it
Their
makes it a
execution.
10
Yeah.
out of 10 execution.
Exactly. So just because you had the idea doesn't mean it's yours. What you did with it.
Yeah.
Now that was a hard lesson. I remember someone talking about that. They're like, cool, you had the idea. So what? What did you do with it? You sat on it for a year while this motherfucker took it and did something with it? Was it really your idea then?
Yeah, could you have collaborated with that person? Sure. Did they want to collaborate with you? No, because they just picked up the ball and ran with it.
Yeah, but you talk about collective consciousness. You know what I'm saying? How many times, again, I always heard that phrase too. They're like, how many times have you known someone who had an idea, didn't do anything on it, and then someone else did something with it, and they're like, oh, I had that idea a year ago.
Yeah.
I think it's like once it's kind of out there, like say like that kernel is popped, the whole fucking movie theater gets access to the popcorn now.
Yeah.
You gotta eat it first.
Yeah, I think that's that quantum theory in practice, because the basis of the quantum computing is trying all avenues and aspects all at once. So what if the universe is like, here, there's an idea, 6 people just got it. 3 of them took off with it. 2 of them became really good. 1 of them is super successful.
That's a fantastic way of putting it out there.
You know, it's the whole unit, like you said a while ago, or was it last podcast? There's weird everywhere. There's weird everywhere. We just choose to fucking ignore it.
Yeah. We choose to live in a fucking 1950s fucking suburban version of the world, and it's really giants and gargoyles and ghosts and fucking psychics and fucking aura and living plants and fucking...
Right?
We are the aliens living in a giant jar. Yeah, absolutely. All of
Put
it.
the veil back over your eyes and go back to sleep, child, because you're just an energy battery.
Yeah.
I was telling my daughter, she was very into religion right now, and she's trying to discover who she is and who she wants to be and all that stuff. And she has a Christian perception on a lot of things. She's like asking me, she's like, what if we don't die? And what if we don't go to heaven? And what if it's not real? And what if it is real? We're exploring those avenues, right? So I just came at her and I was like, what if we're just spiritual fruit for another entity and being? Like, what if our souls don't necessarily die? They just get plucked and consumed. Om nom nom. Take that for a weird take on life, right? It's actually brought up a while ago. I don't know what pantheon actually has that as their philosophy, so Anybody out there knows and wants to keyboard warrior that, go for it.
A couple of them. Yeah, but I think that has a lot to actually do with the, God. The whole Cthulhu thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, go.
Oh God, no, hold on. I gotta present it correctly.
Pick up the torch and run with it.
No, that's one of the god names, but God damn it.
The Elder Gods?
Something like that, but again, like the alternate universe, Cthulhu. What was the fucking goddamn? What was the author's name of this?
C.S. Lewis?
Maybe. Cthulhu. Piece of shit, internet. You're a piece of shit, internet.
Thank you, iPhone 78.
But basically, again, too, yeah, they're other dimensional beings that control us, consume us, and we're just little energy. Like, again, we think about it as sort of energy. We get our energy from food and whatnot, but what about negative energy? What about the shit that we, send out? What about beings that literally feed off of our negative energy?
There you go. What, like, are demons real? Are they blah, blah, blah? Have you seen the video? Oh, where was it? It was in Mexico or something like that. It's really, like, creepy.
Mexico demon? What do you mean?
Not demon, but entity. There's
Entity?
an entity. So there's these three guys. They're standing in a gate, and they're investigating a noise. It goes along the whole lines of the UFO crashes kind of stuff. They're investigating this thing, and like they're looking, I don't know per se. I'm just gonna say they're looking north, and then to their right on this gate, there's this entity walking towards them that they don't notice. But
Really?
the camera picked up.
Okay.
And they have like all these experts like, yeah, it was real, blah, 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 all this other stuff. Because the correlation through the slats and all this other stuff, you can't really CGI this. And yeah, it's like definitive proof of another fucking entity existing in the world. But maybe nobody believes it because it's all bullshit.
There was some, they went on, maybe it was the... not the Y-Files, it was another guy. Impossible Channel, maybe? They had this whole segment on videos that they saw where people didn't notice this shit happening, but the pets did.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. The one of the craziest ones I saw is like this, like, torso out of nowhere. Just like the bottom part, like two legs or something, like it was like shadow legs walking around. And the dog picked it up and noticed, and the fucking people didn't see shit. And then later on, they're reviewing the camera, and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. There's a whole slew of I'm never gonna trust security cameras again kind of stuff out there. There's I'm getting the tingles. Anyway, there's security camera footage out there of these people like being rescued in ridiculous time, like people with super speed.
Oh, I saw that. Some guy.
Yeah, like there's a mom and a baby, and they're walking, and they're about to get hit by a car, and then next thing you know, the baby and the mom are on the curb, and the strollers ran over, and the mom's like, what the hell just fucking happened?
I saw a clip of that, yeah.
Gives me the tingles, man. I don't know.
There was these two cats fighting, because they were talking about a Wendigo or some shit. There were like these two cats fighting in the street or some shit, right? And like one of them went behind a car, and you see these shadows where this person just gets up and fucking walks away.
God.
I was like, whoa, dude. Oh, yeah, there is some creepy shit that I have seen that, like, oh, my God.
One of my favorites is the Time Traveler. Did you see the Time Traveler one?
Okay, there's a couple, but what do you
Okay, got? So it's a Airbnb. The guy's got his cameras around his property, obviously. A young man jumps the fence, goes into the shed. Guy calls the cops. He's like, hey, there's a guy in my shed. The cops show up, and they're like, there's nobody in the shed. And then, like, days later, this old man walks out of the shed without any old man going into it.
They're just some random old guy coming out of the shed. Wow.
Yeah, but the old man and the young man, their face structure, like, is dead on. It's dead on. It could potentially be the same dude.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, there's stories everywhere like that, man.
There was this time traveler thing I saw where I can't remember what agency picked this guy up because he was making extremely fucking like crazy trades, or he had like all this money like out of nowhere or whatever, and they brought him in for questioning and all this stuff and talked to him, and then I can't remember what he said to him or some shit, and then he just fucking vanished after that.
Oh yeah.
The guy just took off, and they're like, there's no way that he would be able to make these trades without having some sort of prior knowledge. Like they tried busting him on insider trading or some shit, and he was just talking about how something, and they're like, this guy was obviously from the future, or just something about it was just way too convenient the way that he fucking flipped this stuff around and did this, and they're like, there's no way, even with insider trading or some shit, had his picture, and they're like, he made like X amount of millions of dollars within so many days.
Yeah, that's absolutely nuts. We got a blip. All right, what were we talking about? We're back. Creepy things.
Yep.
I got it. You're going that way?
Guess we can go this way.
I figure we get the steps in.
All right, might as well.
So, yeah, there's the money guy. So he just vanishes after he gets
It's a bunch of trades and shit. Yeah, much of that, and questioned by the police. And then there's they have these old photo from this guy from the 50s or 60s, and he's wearing like a printed shirt, got like all this stuff on there. Like, this is completely out of date. There's no way this shit. And he was like, some bridge had just collapsed or some shit, and he was there.
Yeah, and then
Did you see the one with the lady from like the 20s walking around? Like, they've seen some people. It was like literally on cell phones, like walking around, like holding something to their head, talking, and no one else notices, obviously, because they have no idea what's going on. There's like 3 of them, people just on a cell phone.
And how much of that is doctored, though? That's what I want to know.
Some of it. But you know what else, though? Let's get this. Have you seen the ancient carvings of statues, people using laptops and shit? There's an Indian one that's very fucking cool. So there's like a deity or some lady like sitting down, and one of her servants is like holding something open, and it looks like a fucking laptop. Straight the fuck up, and she's like, it looked crazy as shit.
I'm going to go Google laptop hieroglyphics.
Yep.
Creepy.
And let's not even talk about the whole, the Temple of Abydos, maybe? Fucking whatever. That Egyptian hieroglyph that shows the helicopter, submarine, fucking plane.
Yeah, all that technology that they weren't supposed to have back then.
Well, they are literally like, it's the shape of a fucking plane and a submarine. Not even like, oh, well, it's, maybe a thing. No, it looks like a fucking straight up submarine. Goddamn jet and a helicopter.
That's an airplane. That's definitely a helicopter. There's no confusing it.
Well, the theory is like, oh, well, there are hieroglyphics laid over other hieroglyphics that it's just pareidolia, and we just think that's what it looks like. And I'm like, those are 4 pretty distinct fucking chiseled images there. I don't know, man. Like, there's no mistaking that for a fucking palm tree. Like,
yeah, what are you going to mistake this submarine for? A hot dog? Even then, they didn't have hot dogs back then.
And it's crazy the way they had them depicted. And I was like, no.
Speaking of photos, let's take the tinfoil hat in a different direction. Have you seen the photos of people at the beach in like the 1970s?
that are all tanned and
fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw this earlier today, and then like today, yeah. Well, I don't want to go into the obesity epidemic that is the American beach and society, but. They're saying that industrialized food destroyed fitness.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're, again, feeding us food-like products.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Because, again, thinking about the whole lifestyle before, like, people did productive jobs and made money, and they didn't buy stuff because they made it or grew it or had it generationally. Like, it was really hard. Like, back in the day, salesmen were literally the door-to-door salesman.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's what...
There's a clip off of one of those old-timey things where electricity was just getting invented. And the old cowboy goes, okay, and then what? Okay, and then what? He's trying to sell him electricity. Then he's like, then you can use our modern-day conveniences, like the oven or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And at the end of the sales pitch, the cowboy goes, and then I'm going to live my whole life indebted to you instead of working for myself. Because the guy offers him credit and all this other good stuff. And I was just like, isn't that a thing to think about?
Yeah, it's true. Bought into the whole system we created now. Or created, system we bought in.
And then the things are manufactured are called planned obsolescence. They're manufactured to fail at a certain point.
Well, yeah, I mean, I got to increase my bottom line. I got to sell enough widgets every year. If your widget doesn't break, why would you come back and buy another widget? Hey,
buy a Toast of the Wyrd t-shirt because we love you. Right? Like...
Our t-shirts, our products are not planned to fail. When they fail, that's just whatever.
Our t-shirts are 100% sourced in China because so is everybody else's, right?
Actually, to the print provider, we can choose where the country of origin comes from, and for shipping purposes, we did choose an American shipper.
Oh, no, you can't be using logic. You can't be using America and all that stuff.
Hey, it takes a minute to set that shit up, okay? God damn it. A lot of buttons to click.
A lot of stuff to investigate. I'd rather take the time to investigate the manufacturer, the shipper, all that stuff, rather than just be like Apple, where they're putting up nets to keep the people from killing themselves because the existence is so meager.
Well, the first test run's done well for about 4 months.
Yeah? Well, I mean, yeah.
The shoes I ordered didn't look really well. A little too big.
Yeah.
Had that hat.
Nice. I like a good fitted hat. I need a good fitted hat.
I get to wear a fitted hat at work now. It's great.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. From
I like the fitted hat because I'm bald, and on the snapbacks, like you get that little sunburn in the back of your head that hurts and looks weird when you're not wearing a hat.
Wow. I didn't even think about that.
Not my kind of weird, but...
fit.
Huh?
Yeah, migraines, bro. Sun.
Yeah.
Sunlight exposure.
I think it also has to do with stress too, bro.
No, honestly, I'm still the same amount of stress and without the light exposure like I've been going through. Ibuprofen definitely have been losing some dollars from me.
Don't do that too much. I got fatty liver from chomping painkillers like left and right.
Exactly. That's also why I had to not fucking take this stuff. I hate pills.
Yeah.
Even pain pills.
So, being the transportation provider that I am, I get into the car with this kid who is so not going to college, but he works for a pharmaceutical company doing medical drug trials, right?
Yep.
And then we start talking about all the side effects and everything else, and we have to take this pill to cover that pill. Uh-oh. Dude was a riot to talk to, but he validated everything that I've said about the medical pharmaceutical industry. It's like, if I have to take 3 pills to cover the side effects of your 1 pill, welcome to the car segment, folks, where we leave the park and go home.
Petroleum-based pharmaceuticals. Not a coincidence at all. Our world is run by... what?
So, anyway, when they say your health is your wealth, they mean it. Because if you're not on top of your health, you're going to be victim to the system that is our health care.
I remember the first time I heard someone say that, an old time movie, and they just unveiled some freak person and all these rich fucking, it's in the 1800 or whatever, and they're all like, oh, gosh, really, and then the next scene was them literally toasting, being like, your health is your wealth.
Huh?
Yeah. And I was like, oh my god, yeah.
I know, man. I know. I gotta set you off in a rant. I'm trying to find a topic to just set you off. Just go.
Yeah, I want to try to keep mild-mannered. The peaks and valleys of my emotion is what gets me. If I don't raise myself up too high, there's not a big crash to come back down.
Gotcha. Emotional regulation. Maybe you should just go up by a creek, take your shoes off, and meditate for 15, 20, 30 minutes. And if you don't have time to do that, do it for 2 hours.
If you don't have time to do that, do it for 2 hours.
2 hours! That's an old Buddhist proverb. If you don't have time to meditate for 15 minutes, then meditate for 45 minutes or something like that. It's like you meditate longer.
Is the Buddhist, that's for her, that I'm really good and talking a lot of good stuff on the internet. It reminds me of him every time you say it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's usually where I get a lot of my Buddhist commentary from. He's from the European temple or something like that. He's a Buddhist who learned English, who came to Europe to, promote the Buddhist way or whatever from the European temple. And those guys are weird themselves, man. Like, I will withstand the spear to my throat because I have iron skin technique. Now, as a kid who grew up in the deserty area and can sit on a cactus, I can kind of admire those guys who can, like,
pain threshold.
Spear.
I'm still intrigued at that one guy who can fucking throw needles into a fucking jar of soda. And the fucking and I was like, oh my god.
Like sewing needles?
Yeah, he just threw like that fucking needle into the fucking... He was like this far away and he was like, and just pierced the can. And I was like, oh my god, my throat.
That's interesting. That's interesting as all hell. But you know what? Those kids that do the Buddhist techniques, and me being the American advocate in my own ignorance of the situation, like, those kids look like they are suffering. But how much of that is being sold to me? You know? How much of the kid bawling his eyes out at the monk's temple is, like, sold to me as, like, this is not the way of life. Look at the way that they torture these children.
Well, let me ask you this. Being an adult now, knowing the benefits of discipline, hard work, knowing that you have to be molded as a child, you fucking have to be. You cannot be left to your own goddamn devices. You can't, because you don't know, and or it's a different thing. How much of that really is punishment or torture or too much? And again, like, this is all perspective from people who raise their kids and not my kid and whatever, but I mean, throughout the world and society, like, childhood has been a detriment.
Yeah.
You know, you were supposed to be... so again, like...
Well, that's why I prefaced it with my own ignorance and incompetence about the situation, because I understand that, yes, children need discipline and structure.
Yeah.
And it's vital.
But they also have to be children, or not to have the whole... Again, I guess it just depends. Everything is like, it's the same thing about a disciplining parent. At what line is it crossed where you're not disciplining, you're abusing? And again, like, on the other end, if you're not disciplining, are you being fucking neglectful in the sense of not raising that child or that person? So that's a tough, you know, like, that depends on, you know, a lot of things, perspectives from a lot of people. And
yeah, well, like, okay, so to kind of, like, validate your point and give a really good example, there's a difference between the statement, you're going to go to bed without your dinner. Mm-hmm. Okay, why? Why are they going to go to bed without their dinner? Because we gave them a full plate of food and they refused to eat even a crumb off that plate. Totally legit, totally valid. You're going to go to bed without your dinner because, you know, I got drunk and I didn't provide dinner. That's different.
Or punishment, you did something, so I'm not going to feed you. Yeah,
absolutely. Or I did something, so I'm going to punish you. That's one of the things that just aggravates me, too.
Yeah.
Is like, I messed up, so you're in trouble. Wait, why is the child in trouble for something that you did?
Again, I think we need to go back to the village. It takes a village to raise a child, because I think it'd be a lot harder for anyone to be abusive if there was tons of people involved in, you know, like, your tribe, right?
Well, you don't, yeah, exactly. It's just developing a good tribe, because you don't necessarily have the stress of the parent of, like, oh my god, now I gotta do this, now I gotta do that, now I gotta do all of this stuff. You know, it's like, okay, all right, so
grandma can help with that, uncle will help me with this, fucking sister's gonna grab that, and then I'm gonna grab whatever for my nephew, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm gonna take all of the children this time, so that way all of my tribe can, like, recreate.
Their peacetime, yeah, and then it'll be my peacetime, yeah. And I think it has,
or accomplish it.
Our whole society of, like, being split apart. It makes me think so shitty that it was Tristan Tate talking about the example with the brothers and shit. I was just like, my god, if we just, I was like, I've been raised differently and to think it differently.
The individual cannot raise themselves up by their own bootstraps. It is impossible. It is absolutely impossible. You need a tribe and a network. That, one, you provide value to, and two, you receive value from. Mm-hmm. That's not to say you're taking advantage of, or they're taking advantage of you. It's just saying, we're all in this together, so we're going to be all in this together. That's why people don't like Jewish people, and I know we've talked about this several episodes.
Actually, not just that, but coincidentally, if you think about it, any culture that has a strong family, like a lot of people will plague on the Hispanic community for that too. Oh, there's so many and they travel all together. You know what? How many fucking Caucasian families over 3 or 4 you ever see? You don't see, cousins and moms and all, like, that's not, so people bag on them, for that. And then I want to say India. It was country. What country? I don't remember. But this actress, she was being interviewed by someone, and the guy was like heckling her, and he's like, "Oh, you still live at home with your parents?" and something, and she just stopped for a second. She's like, "Yeah," and it was an Indian actress, and she's like, "Absolutely," and it's customary for us to live with our parents, as being elderly, and she's like, "Also, it is customary for us to make an appointment to have dinner with our parents." So I was like, "That's true." I was like, a lot of culture.
To be respectful, yeah. There's
exactly.
another one. It's a little person, and he's, I want to say Middle Eastern or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I made it big on social media, and I've retired my parents. I've retired my family. My cousins don't do anything.
Yeah.
They are retired because I've made enough that we can provide and have this life together. Because why would you be at the mountaintop alone and just be lonely? You just see the view and anyway.
It's only lonely at the top if you don't bring anyone else with you.
Yep. That is very, very true. You want to...
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a good note to end on.
All right. Like, follow, subscribe. I know people don't do more than like one thing that they're asked to do. So if you only do one thing, please share this with a friend, because it worked for Alex Hermosi, and I'm hoping it works for us too.
And then I'm going to ask you to also like. So there's 2 things.
Keep it weird.